go gach duine as bheith linn aniu to fáilte mór rove a lig. It is so good to be here with you all today. It's great to be back in person and to meet everybody. Our Ard Fheis meets today at a time of major change right across our entire island. I think that change was demonstrated most loudly 6 months ago when the people of the North voted in huge numbers in the Assembly election. It really was a defining moment, and for the very first time, the balance of power stormont shifted, and Sinn Féin emerged as the largest party, topping the poll with 27 seats. The electorate overwhelmingly endorsed our message of hope, optimism, and working in partnership with others to get things done. They voted for us to put extra money into our health service and to help them through the cost of living crisis. They voted for us to build more homes and to create good quality jobs. I campaigned to lead a new executive as a First Minister for all, and I meant what I said during that campaign. I will work every day as First Minister Designate to demonstrate through word and deed a spirit of partnership and respect towards everyone in our society. You see, for politics to work, it must be inclusive. And that means the institutions of the Good Friday Agreement must work, serve and deliver fairly and equally for all of our citizens and all of our communities. My commitment is to make politics work, to make it work for everyone and to lead an agenda for change through partnership, not division. I want to cooperate across party lines, and I want to deliver in government by working with others who also want progress. So our mission is to deliver on health, housing, education and jobs. We need to put money into people's pockets to help deal with the cost of living crisis. We need to agree a budget and an extra £1 billion into the health service to reduce waiting lists, to support cancer and mental health services and recruit and retain more doctors and nurses. Since day one after the election, Sinn Féin has stood ready to form a power-sharing government. We have been ready to work with other parties and to serve all communities. It is so wrong that progress on issues affecting the daily lives of people are being put on hold because one party refuses to accept the democratic outcome of last May's Assembly election. Now, at any time, that would be unacceptable, but in the middle of a cost of living crisis, it is really disgraceful. As you all know, the DUP are using the Brexit protocol as cover not to enter power sharing. And you also know that the real reason is because, as an Irish nationalist, I will be at the helm as First Minister, and everybody knows it. Last Friday, caretaker ministers were forced from their departments, leaving civil servants in a really impossible position. And they're now expected to run our essential public services with no budget and no powers. Not good enough. Simply not good enough. I want to, from this Ard Fheis, thank our outgoing ministers, Finance Minister Conor Murphy, Communities Minister Deirdre Hargey and Infrastructure Minister John O'Dowd for their hard work on behalf of the people. Back in May, people voted for change, yet the DUP and the Tories offer only disruption, dysfunction and chaos in Belfast and in London. The British Secretary of State repeatedly said that he would set a date for an election should the DUP fail to restore power sharing. Yet come the day, come the hour, he backed down and he failed to do anything whatsoever. And he's left the people in limbo with his indecision and his dithering. He needs to now step out a very definitive pathway on how we're going to restore an executive instead of fuelling the instability and the uncertainty. So if an election is called, we stand ready. We stand ready to refight a very positive campaign, a campaign to deliver on the change that people voted for back in May, a campaign that's very much about the future, built on inclusivity, togetherness and respect. But in the meantime, we cannot allow a vacuum to be filled by threats of violence or intimidation from loyalists who want yesterday, because let's be very clear, yesterday is not available to them. From this Ard Fheis today, I send all of our solidarity to James Nesbitt and Professor Colin Harvey of Queen's University. Both have come under attack from senior DUP politicians and from some loyalists, but attack on them is an attack on democracy, an attack on all of us, and it must stop. Earlier this week, I was honoured to attend the funeral service of the late Baroness May Blood. I was privileged to join her beloved family and all of those from the Greater Shankill community who mourned the loss of their greatest and deeply respected community champion. This was a woman who was a mill worker, a trade unionist, a community worker, a campaigner for social justice, integrated education, and a founder of the Women's Coalition. As First Minister Designate, I wanted to pay my respects and to go on to the Shankill, because at the end of the day, we all live together. Our battles are all the same: to make communities better, to offer families a secure life, to build a better future for our children. We have so much more in common than divides us. So reaching out the hand of friendship to advance reconciliation is always going to be our common ground. Where together we can all build for the future, and to do so in a way that reflects the diversity of our different but equally legitimate allegiances, identities and aspirations. That is why back in September I attended the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. I was being respectful to all of those of our British and Unionist tradition from across our society who felt her loss dearly. It reflects maturity, as a new era of change is ushered in where we can celebrate our difference and our diversity. Last week, there was a significant development. Last week, after decades of campaigning, the Irish language was given official recognition in law in the North for the first time. Tá ach Gaeilge agin anish. This will mean that Gaelgory will have guaranteed protections in law and the legal right to access public services through Irish. You see, resistance to rights has failed. Let's not diminish each other's culture and identity. Let's cherish each other's difference. I am working to build a society not of orange and green, but a rainbow of colours and multiculturalism which reflects who we are and what we stand for today. Since we last met, some progress has also been made on women's rights. Finally, women in the North will have right to modern, compassionate healthcare when they need it. And those services now need to be put in place, because a new generation of women will not abide a repeat of the failures of the past, particularly whenever it comes to our healthcare. I want to address the issue of the Brexit protocol. You see, it's an irrefutable fact that the protocol is working, and that Jeffrey Donaldson is incapable of accepting that is the case. He has now been rebuffed on numerous occasions in the past week about his misleading claims, including scaremongering about vital medical care. Jeffrey just doesn't need a fact check, he needs a reality check. Most working people, businesses and the key sectors that I meet will want the British Government to urgently reach a negotiated settlement with the EU around the protocol. They want certainty and stability so that they can invest for the future, taking full advantage of our access to the EU single market and the benefits this brings to our economy. We welcome, very much so, the unstinted support of the White House and Congress. This was reaffirmed in a call between President Biden and the British Prime Minister last week. We must defend and protect the gains of the Good Friday Agreement and the need to reach a negotiated agreement with the European Union. We welcome the new British Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, meeting with the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen. And what we all want to see now is a deal to be done to make the protocol work better. But for the avoidance of doubt, neither the Assembly or the Executive has any mandate or role in those negotiations. So to hold back power sharing in the meantime is simply just to punish the public. It's reckless and it needlessly polarises our society and our politics. So my clear call today is for London and for Brussels to propel the protocol talks and for Downing Street to demonstrate the political will to get a resolution. As for the Stormont leaders, now is the time for renewed unity of purpose and determination to deliver a stable power-sharing coalition that works and, more importantly, that delivers. Next April will mark 25 years of peace and the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, and we'll spend time reflecting on the transformation of our island over the last quarter century, but we will also take the opportunity to look forward and imagine what the future can hold. We are now in the decade of opportunity. So friends, let's embrace it and let's do better for all. The Oberla Yanu Ogin our son and Phobal. So we have work to do. We have people to represent. The people want government and we want change. And I am firmly committed to both. Shin Mayaltan os Dave Alig, Gurmila Mayagov.
Owen, absolutely rapturous response for Michelle O'Neill, who is, I suppose the response is reflective of the response